Welcome back to Pharmacy in Our Lives, a pharmacy show sponsored by Guehung Media and Pleasant Care Pharmacy. And I have again with me today is Courtney Smith. And earlier in the first show, we have been talking about how to prevent injury for those that are joining sports, like the youths and the teens that are trying out different sports. And today, Court is going to talk to us about how to, when you have an injury, what do you do? And just to give you a little background about Court, he is the CEO of his own company called
Court Smith Basketball Industries.
Thank you. Yes, and it's specialized in sportswear, and he also designs his own actually basketball shoes as well. That's going to be in the in the production phase. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for him to have that. But then he had 18 years of doing all kinds of sportswear and all the technologies that will help you prevent getting injury as well as get you better. So he is the guy to know about what type of things that you should be wearing or use to prevent injury as well as to help you with your injury. So this show is about how to take care of your injury and get back into sports. Just a little bit of a background about my husband. Again, I was telling him, you guys, about him getting injured. Tore his ACL during playing basketball on concrete. Now I know it's bad to play on concrete, so he went and got an surgery to get his ACL, reconnected again, and had to do rehab, and it took him a year to be able to now finally, this year, he's starting to play basketball again and tennis again. But it took a year. Does it take that long usually for athletes to get back? Because, I mean, look at guys like Steph Curry or, LeBron James. If they tore their ACL, I mean, they're expected to come back pretty quickly, though, yes?
It depends. An ACL is a real tough injury to recover from.
Oh, I see. Because I see these guys, they get back in the game pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So can you give us some of the things that we can do if you have an injury and what we can do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the NBA, as you know, it's a big business. So they spend a lot of money on the athletes in terms of their preventative and post-care.
Yes.
We don't necessarily have the budgets to do what NBA doctors do a lot of the times to get them back faster. Yeah. But certain injuries, they have shorter recovery times. So an ankle injury, if it's a sprain versus a tear, there's two different recovery times. For a knee situation, those are tough. MCL or ACL, and then it's different types of those.
Yes, correct.
And so a year is probably about right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what usually could happen, there's three different types of things. In this situation, ice and pressure is good on a sprain.
Okay.
Because basically fluid just leaked out into your out of your ligaments and into your ankle, and now it's swelling, right?
Yes.
And so the swelling is what causes more damage.
Correct.
So the goal is to keep that muscle tight. So that's why a lot of athletes say on the playground or whatever, when they sprain an ankle, they go sit down and they tie their shoe tighter because to prevent
from inflaming.
Yeah. So the best thing to probably do is to wrap it and ice it. And to elevate it so the blood flows back down into the.
So in the medical term, we call it RICE. We have a acronym for it, RICE. That means rest, ice, compression, and elevation.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And so what an NBA team would do is they would put you in a cryo chamber,
Cryo chamber, what's that?
And so cryo chamber is your whole body stands in this chamber, and you basically freezes your muscles, and it gives you kind of a refresh, a reboot in terms of
after you get injured, they put you in the cryo chamber?
Before or after.
Oh, so why before?
Before, it's preventative. So a lot of athletes after the game,
yes,
they do one of those three things: cryo chamber work, but this is like a $10,000 machine. So our version of it is an ice bath, and nobody likes it, but it's almost like a cryo chamber, and it refreshes and revitalizes your ligaments and joints after a game.
After a game, you immerse your whole body in an ice bath?
You immerse your whole body in an ice bath.
That's too cold.
Yes.
But then like how much ice? A lot of ice?
A lot of ice and water.
And how long do you immerse yourself?
I mean, as long as you can stand it, but a good 10 minutes is good.
What?
But what it does is it takes the
freezes.
inflammation out of your body. And it refreshes your muscles and joints and ligaments. It's one of the best things you can do. So all sports do it.
Really?
Yeah, all
This
sports
is the
do
first
it.
time I've heard it.
Yeah.
Because I don't play sports that much. So,
Yeah.
do you recommend like for someone who just plays on a, not so like hardcore like in a team or like NBA, but on a regular basis, still immerse themselves in the bath like that? Or?
I would suggest it. I think I look at ice baths as almost like an oil change for your body.
Okay, but how often do you do that?
Once a month would be good.
Really?
Yeah, and icing for preventative, especially say for your husbands around his age, just taking a bag of ice and putting it over the knee and wrapping it around and just hanging out. So say you with the family and the kids and you guys are watching TV and he just came home from playing basketball. Take ice, put it on his knee, wrap it around on both knees and just chill out and hang with the family for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes. And that's also very good in preventative maintenance on the knee and the ankle. Same with the ankle.
Interesting.
So
okay.
those three things can be good. If you say you scratch the cryo chamber.
Well, yes, we can't afford the $10,000 cryo chamber.
But if you go buy bags of ice and dump it in the bathtub and turn it on,
oh my
watch him squirm, but tell him it's good for his knee and it's good preventative maintenance.
Interesting. So even all sports, and that sounds like they should probably do that. Yeah. Okay. What else do you recommend for the people that have like injuries?
Well, another thing is make sure that you listen to your body. So when you're playing, a lot of times a small tinge of pain while you're on the court is a precursor or a sign that's telling you something's not right or aligned.
Right. Okay. So what do you do when that happens? Should you stop playing?
So
or you some people push it, right?
Yeah.
They continue.
So you have to make sure there's a difference. Like in the athlete world, we call it being injured and being hurt.
Oh, okay. What's the difference?
So there's a difference between being injured and being hurt. So you have to identify whether you just hurt or you're injured. Now, if you're hurt, those are pains that go away.
Ah, okay. So like you said, you feel a tinge of pain, but it's not like you sprained your knee or broken, like tore your ACL or anything like that. Okay.
If you're hurt, it goes away.
Yes.
If it's an injury, then you want to get it resolved because it can turn into a devastating injury.
Yes.
So if you sprained an ankle and it's not a tear and you for sure that it's a sprain, and it's a light sprain, that's a pain that can go away. But if you severely sprain or hard sprain or torn a ligament, you want to do those things. Like you said, what's your acronym?
RICE.
RICE. You want to RICE your ankle.
Yes.
So that you can recover faster and prevent any other injuries from happening.
But for those that sprain that don't have tear or anything like that, do you recommend they still give it a rest or they can go back? Because I'd be like, stop doing what you're doing. As a mom, I'd be like, no, you're not doing. But what do you recommend?
Well, I recommend if you're hurt. So say if you bumped heads with somebody, or you got a Charlie horse, or you did something that's a pain that hurts, that lets your body know, ow, that hurts, but I'm going away.
Yes.
Then keep playing because
Okay.
that's part of being a kid
That's
and being
true.
tough.
Yes, that's true.
But if it's something that if you say, hey, go ahead, keep playing, and he's trying to keep playing, but you see that is something wrong, and it's you pull them out and do those things. And if it doesn't get better, then I would suggest definitely go to a doctor just to make sure that there's nothing sprained. And a lot of times you want to get, you know, MRIs or X-rays to make sure that it's not a sprain if it's hurting really bad.
Yeah.
You know, and some kids are tougher than others. Like I know kids who have broken bones and they've slept through it, you know, and like
they don't tell you.
No, because they think,
they're boys, and sometimes they don't tell their mom either. Yeah, that's my worry. Is like my boy might not tell me if they're hurt.
Yeah, so you can gauge kind of, you know, are you hurt or are you injured? And you can gauge whether or not, like when you put them back out there, how they feel and how they play. You know, and if a kid loves a sport, you'll know right away because he's going to try to shake it off as fast as he can to get back out there.
Yes.
And if you see him leaning on it or limping on it, then you might want to pull him out.
Just pull him out.
You know, and just get just get a check. You know, make sure that everything's good, and if it's not, you know, let them keep going because that's what kids do, right?
Right. No, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, moms will always get worried, but kids they just want to go out there and continue playing.
Yeah, that's what being a kid is all about, you know. And it's our job to just make sure that they have the tools to be the best and that they get better and we're protecting them, you know.
So the previous show that we did, Court just told us how to pick the right shoe when you play basketball. So now let's talk a little bit about bad shoes that cause injury, right? And we don't want you to continue wearing bad shoes or buying bad shoes, and some bad shoes could cost a lot of money, right? I mean, I'm hearing like in the hundreds of dollars.
Absolutely.
And so please tell us, what are some examples of bad shoes?
Bad shoes come in different forms, and here's a couple examples. And one of our affiliates, his name is Ron. He's an engineer as well, and he's a foot expert.
Okay.
And he works with us in designing our shoe and helping athletes line up and make sure that joints is right for play as well. So I learned this information from him.
Okay.
And that's the torque of a shoe. If a shoe is easily torqueable, where you could twist it easy, then you don't need it on your foot because you're going to make moves that your body is going to lean all the pressure on this shoe. So if you're making moves to the left or the right, but you can easily torque it with your hand, do not wear that shoe.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a great
Do not wear that
tip.
shoe.
Okay.
That goes this way and twisting.
Oh, so, okay. Up and down and side by side. That you can twist and don't get it.
And you will be surprised how many expensive Nikes, Adidas, whoever, that you can do that with.
Oh.
And so you don't want to leave your foot to chance in that shoe.
Okay.
It's very important.
Understand.
And when you're a kid, you know, you can get away with it a little bit because you're 30, 40 pounds.
You're lighter.
So it's not much torque, you know, not much pressure. But as they grow, you want to make sure that their shoes are protected, their foot is protected.
Teenagers and getting older and getting more muscle mass, they're going to get more mass, and that's really important.
Absolutely. And your kid is growing. So you know, throughout a kid's adolescent years, you know, he's going to sleep waking up 2 inches taller than he was the night before.
Yeah.
So his ligaments and joints are already very sensitive and soft, and you know, so you want to make sure that he's protected. So the torque test on a shoe is very important. And then the second thing is, like I talked about before, is your arc. You want to make sure the arc on the shoe is touching the ground. This is kind of a high arcing shoe, and it's a little too high for me.
Okay.
But there's shoes that you got to.
So for those that are flat-footed, then they should wear flatter shoes, or the flat-footed ones should wear arc shoes. Because I was told, you know, when you're flat, you should wear arc, right?
Yeah. Well.
No.
No.
Okay. Please explain.
What I would suggest is just make sure that there is no curve on the shoe.
Oh, okay.
That the shoe all of the shoe touches the ground.
All of the shoe. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's very important.
Okay.
Because if you're wearing an arc shoe and flat-footed, that puts your foot in a position to get fatigued when you're playing. And once that part gets fatigued, then it starts crawling up your leg.
So should you even look for arc shoes at all for people with flat foot or no flat foot? You should just wear flat shoes. Is that what you're saying?
In basketball, I would suggest that you don't wear arc shoes at all.
Okay.
Find shoes that don't have an arc.
Okay. What about other sports?
It may be different. It's different in other sports.
Okay.
Football, it's different. Soccer, it's different.
Okay.
But basketball specifically, I think it's because we're running on wood. You know, we're running on wood and we're jumping as high as we can and then landing hard. So, and basketball is a lateral game.
Yes.
So if your shoe torque is off, then your foot can slide off the side of your shoe easily.
Yeah. Agree.
Or if your shoe is too high arched and you land, the front of your foot and the back of your foot is landing. Is landing, but your arc isn't.
Oh.
And over time, that's what goes bad.
Yes. You heard about like people that they have plantar fasciitis? Have you heard of that? So does that have to do with the bad arcing of the shoes, or it's just something else?
It could be. There's something.
Because it can fatigue your your plantar, and it can probably cause inflammation there.
Yes, I think bad shoes contribute to a lot of foot problems, especially if you're playing sports.
Yes.
A lot of foot problems, and so we are in a industry-driven market, right? So the brands kind of dictate what shoes we wear based on popularity.
Yes.
But we don't put a lot of focus on protection and impact absorption.
Have you ever been able to find a cheap but good shoes?
Yes, there are. Nike sells cheap but good shoes, you know, and cheap but good is the $89.
Oh, is that what it is? It's still expensive then.
Yeah. It's still, but this is what I would suggest: the outlets. So I bought all my son's shoes at the outlets.
Okay.
So
like
I go
Gilroy
to
outlet or
Gilroy outlet or the Nike outlets in San Leandro or wherever. They're out there, and so you can find the same shoes that are going for $120, $180 for $49 and $50 at the outlet. Now you may not get your exact color that you want, but I'm going for quality and support of a shoe for my kid or for me, and then style second in this particular case. You know.
Understand.
This slide was talking about the different kinds of movements of a shoe and what's important. So in a shoe, there's predictive movements and then there's preventative movements. So a predictive movements on a shoe, basically they design the shoe to base itself off of your move, whether it's spinning, jumping, shooting, side to side, playing defense or things of that nature. So you want to find a shoe that is conducive to your predictive moves. So it's conducive to your moves on the basketball court. But the other half of that, though, is you want to find a shoe that's preventative. And one key to preventative is impact absorption. And you know, the knees take a really big beating on landing.
Correct. Yes.
And so and this is another important point that I want to mention. Girls who play sports, you know, having good shoes for girls are probably more important than boys.
Oh, why is that?
Because the way their body changes as they get older, their knees can take the worst beating. So a lot of girl athletes, they have knee surgeries because their knees end up having to go out.
Just their anatomy is different.
Because their anatomy is different.
The boys.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because their legs, their knees go in.
Oh.
And so boys' knees are different. So and most of the time they're not conscious of the shoes that they're buying. So all the things we talked about, it's almost imperative for girls to wear shoes that don't have an arc.
Yes.
That are flat to the ground and that torque is strong, and that will you want to give them a longer life on their knees.
Correct. Yes.
And so impact absorption is one on the land. So this shoe, this has air in it, so I'm sure that the impact absorption of this shoe is really good.
How do you know if a shoe has good impact absorption? Like, what are you looking for when you buy a shoe that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the manufacturer doesn't tell you.
No, they don't. They don't. But in Nikes, you know, they use a lot of the air technology.
So
you know,
just go for Nike then?
No.
Yes.
They should pay me then. No, I'm just kidding. But some Nikes that have air technology are good shoes and good impact absorption. But there's some shoes like the Kyries. They don't have the bubble, but they have good impact absorption.
Okay.
Reebok used to have it. It was called Hexalite. So different companies, sometimes they...
what about the ones that are not well-known brand? They probably don't have those.
Not necessarily. Like Adidas, they have a new technology called Boost. And Boost is lots of little buoyant white balls compressed into one that makes the outsole, and it has decent impact absorption.
Which one of those have the best absorption technology, you think? I'm putting you on the spot.
I would say right now Nike.
Okay.
You know, but Adidas is growing fast and their technology is getting a lot better.
Okay.
So,
but for the time being, you know, as a parent, I mean, because I don't know all the technologies out there, so I'm just gonna, you know, of course, we want to get a good deal. So if you can go to outlet, look for a Nike shoe with the, you know, but good quality shoes that you can afford. Yeah, but.
And when Court Smith shoes come out.
Yes.
We're going to solve all those problems.
Oh, that would be awesome when you have that, because you are on the prototype stage.
Yeah, we're in the prototype stage. We've been working on our shoe for a year, you know, and our goal has been to solve a lot of these issues and to create a shoe that's the best basketball or sports shoe that's in the industry.
Well, I will be the first in line to order one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I'm excited because I know Court, because he's very passionate about sports and especially basketball, and that's why I bring him here to just teach us on the importance of, you know, wearing good shoes and protecting yourself, because I have the experience of my husband, and now my son's joining basketball, so I'm as a mom, I'm very interested in you know, learning about this, and hopefully the viewers as well learn a lot about this. What else can you share with us? Anything else?
We don't stress enough of importance on footwear, and I think, you know, the movement is to start that, and that will put pressure on not just our company but big companies to start focusing more on the quality of the shoe instead of the design of the shoe.
That's right.
So,
yes.
So and for girl athletes, for all those girl athletes out there, you know, I need you guys to really make sure that your parents go out there and invest in quality footwear for your shoes, because it's important for the longevity of your knees. You know,
and your ankles as well.
And your ankles as well.
Yes. So just to summarize all the important points that Court told us. So to get really good shoes, and those good shoes that we're talking about is no torque, low to the ground, not too much heels, but have good impact absorption, have high to medium ankle, right? And have that piece, that extra piece around in the bottom that will help you so that you don't twist and turn and sprain your ankle, correct? And so, and one of the things I'm hearing, besides that, you know, Court's going to come out with his own shoe, but for now, since he doesn't have it yet, you know, Nike has the best absorption technology for now. Is that, did I summarize everything okay? Yeah? Okay.
For now.
All right, for now. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and thank you to the viewers for watching Pharmacy in Our Lives. We hope that you find the information useful. And thank you again to my friend Court for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Did you enjoy the interview today?
Yeah, it was excellent.
So if you have any questions or suggestions, please email me at chow.fan@pleasantcarepharmacy.com or call us at 510-200-9984. And we have pharmacists and pharmacy students from UOP to help answer your questions free of charge. You can also visit me at www.pleasantcarepharmacy.com. And if you have any questions for Court, feel free to contact us and we can pass your message along to Court. And Court, do you have like maybe a website that you can send them to?
Yeah, go to courtsmith.com.
Oh,
and if you want to, go to courtsmith.com. You'll see all our stuff there.
Great. And once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.